Hey, race fans and drivers. Welcome to the Texas Dirt Track Stars of Tomorrow, the podcast that puts the spotlight on the rising talents in dirt track racing. I'm Mike Fortier, your host and fellow racing enthusiast with years of racing experience ranging from regional short track racing to the big super speedways of NASCAR. I'm here to give today's young racers the opportunity to be showcased and recognized. Every week, we sit down with young racers across Texas, hear their stories, and dig into what drives them. We'll talk challenges, victories, struggles, and most importantly, we'll get to know you, the driver. So strap in, get comfortable, and join us for another episode of the Texas Dirt Track Stars of Tomorrow, where the future legends of racing get the recognition they deserve. So now let's drop the green flag and get this show started. Hey y'all, how's it going? Listen, we've got a super guest here. Young gal is running with the Texas Dirt Truck Series out of Cibolo, Texas. I'm going to bring her on without any further ado. Do we have you?
Hey.
Evahdent, how are you? And Dad Scott. How you doing? All right?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Cool. You're in your shop.
Yeah, we're in the shop. It's a little hot out here. I think it's 102. Thankfully, that yellow stuff, that blown-in insulation, it works.
Right.
Makes it so we can survive. She already, this 05 here is what she's been working on today. We had to put new valve springs on it. So I figured since we were already out here, she just finished doing the valve springs on it, did it herself. I showed her the first one, along with some help from our friend Trevor Smith, who's driving our 15 truck.
Okay.
He lent us a couple tools and some advice, and she knocked it out this morning. We put new springs because this motor that's in the 05 is a little older than I think it's like 3 or 4 seasons it's been on it. So we decided to swap out the springs to make sure because we don't know any history about it. So that's what she did this morning. So we're going to stay out here.
It sounds pretty good though. It runs.
Y'all look good. Yeah, it seems fine. Hey, are you running a crate motor in that truck?
Yep. The crate 602 is the predominantly the better choice for the trucks.
Yep. So I'm still struggling with your name. I think it's very cool. Help me out. Pronounce it.
Where'd it come from again?
Her mom has the story, and I kind of forget it in detail, so I better not try to.
She got it from Evidently, I think.
Yeah, somebody didn't know.
If I try to remember that, I'll remember how to pronounce it. It's a really cool name.
If you don't know if someone doesn't know how to spell it or say it, I just say to them, it's evident that you don't know how to spell her name. And that way they know how to spell it by saying that sentence.
There you go. And you are the dad.
Yep.
Scott Walker.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So
she's our youngest. She's our youngest of 5. She has 3 sisters and a brother.
Yeah, 1 brother.
Okay. Are you the only sibling racing?
Right now, yes.
Right now.
Eventually 2 others are going to start, but not yet.
Her sister Cassidy and brother Cade both have. Right now, they have some sport compact cars, but I'm kind of leaning towards. I haven't told them this yet, but I'm kind of leaning towards not pushing the sport compact because I don't know the series at all. And I feel like with what we got going with all the trucks and some fireballs,
right?
I think it's probably going to be best if they just try to run what we're already running. It'll be easier.
Well, I agree with that.
Got enough trucks.
Right. Rear-wheel drive. I mean, there's a big difference between these front-wheel drive sport compacts and a full-size race car. And
my problem is, I try to help them. She does a lot, probably 90% of the trucks and we've got 3 that are running now.
Okay.
She's probably done 90% of the work to get those 3 trucks to the track.
Okay.
To change them from, whatever they were before we got them. Some of them dirt and some asphalt, but all of them in disrepair. And then we kind of take them apart, put them back together the way I've been taught to do it, and she's having fun.
So Evahdent, you do a lot of this work yourself on these cars? You like working on? Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes there's some hard spots, but I do what I can, just not welding yet.
Right. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but what's your age? You're pretty young.
16.
16. Awesome. That is so cool. And you're working on motors and everything else on the race car. That is very, very cool.
She started driving last year in mid-season, so she was 15 and a half when she started.
Okay.
And she'd never been in another race car, period. We had hopes and dreams of her mother was driving a diesel-powered drag truck for us.
Oh,
and
wow.
She had wanted to do that, but they closed our racetrack here in San Antonio with no hopes of it being open again. So we kind of had to switch gears. We're a gearhead family and love racing. So we went and took a look at the racetrack and decided the dirt racing was something we wanted to get into.
Yeah, there's been a lot of guys done that, I think, over the last few years. It's a big change, obviously, but it's racing. Yeah, good. And you're doing a pretty decent job out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I saw you run at I-37 Speedway with the Fireball class a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. I think I'm going to run with them this weekend.
Oh, good. Yeah, I heard you guys, the Texas Dirt Truck Series, rained out at Texana rained out. Or flooded out.
I guess what I'm hearing is the neighbor to the track down there in Edna, Texana, is a rice farmer.
Yep. And
his levee broke for his water supply for his rice fields, which flooded the track. So, I guess that's the second time we've gotten canceled on that track, and no fault of anybody at the track. They really want us out there, but they're pretty bummed that we can't make it, and so are we.
Well, they're having a tough time. I know that.
It's a great facility too.
Yeah, and they put money into it and made it even better. Yeah, it's a pretty good place.
He runs a good show.
Yes, he does. Yep. I was down at Corpus last Saturday night with the Stims guys.
Yeah.
Tell me about your run at I-37. You started off really, really well. You were holding them off big time.
I was
Pardon?
I was running too high, and then Howie runs pretty good on the bottom, so he made that work. He was able to get around pretty quick.
Yep.
I finished second. I mean, that's pretty good still.
Yes, it is. Let's take a look at that. I got a little bit of footage here that I kind of comment through if you want.
Evahdent Ivy in the 05 pushes up a little bit, leaves the door open for the 13. They're side by side getting into turn number 3. Evahdent Ivy there in the middle. Howie Marks on the bottom.
Oh, there's me in the back. I spun out.
You got your name got called quite a bit there, Evahdent.
Man.
They were calling you out big time.
No, you need to rub it in. She already rubs it in enough that I'm trying to do little circles while she's doing big circles.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, so tell me when and how you got started in this deal. Evident? How did you
Um,
come into racing?
he found one of his friends had a truck, and we went and looked at it, and ended up buying it. And there was a few changes we had to do on it, but
that one had never been on dirt yet.
It was never on dirt, but
they used to race it asphalt at Kyle.
Yeah, we got it set up to where I could go practice, and I practiced at I-37, and I was doing pretty good for my first time in a truck, but then a rocker came loose on it because the motor was sitting for a few years.
I think, that motor figured it was.
Yeah, there was some rust in it, so it was time for it to get rebuilt. That's when he found a motor that was used but new, and we dropped it in.
Yep. Yeah, we went from a 305 open motor that had sat for 10 years. It looked good on top, and we didn't pull the pan or anything. It was in the truck already. We figured, let's give it a shot. It actually ran really strong, but we dropped a rocker out there at the track on testing, and then when we opened the valve cover, we saw just a brown syrup of rust mixed with oil, and we just said, no, let's stop now before we don't have anything.
Right.
We knew it was going to be bad if we kept pushing it, so we had to pull that one, and then we went and got a 602 crate like everybody else is running, and we're glad we did that.
Yeah, it's a good deal. How long have you been racing then, Evident?
About a year, right? A year and a
okay.
A little bit over a year.
Yeah, a little bit over a year.
Yep. So this is your foray into it right here with the trucks, right?
Yeah.
First time in. How did you like? How do you like the truck series? I mean, you perhaps don't have a lot to compare to. You're in with the Fireball class a couple of weeks ago, but what do you think of this series? The trucks.
I like it. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's different when you're out on the track. You just try to stay out of people's way, and not try to purposely wreck anybody.
Right. Right.
I mean, you just gotta play nice.
Try to play nice. Hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, watch this little one right here. I may have to back that up. Yeah, hang on. Okay, just a little clip rubbed together there. That must have rattled your cage. Yeah. That was a cotton bowl, right?
Yeah, I thought I was gonna flip, but thank God I did not flip, because that would have been.
So I'll tell you a little story about that, Mike. I was running my first heat ever in the 45 truck right behind her when that happened. Okay. And of course, being dad, scared the living ever out of me. And I thought, well, I'll just stay in this and go past a few times and make sure she's all right. Not jump out, make a fool of myself. So I see her truck sitting on the embankment quite steep there at Cotton Bowl, and after making 2 laps under caution, and they had checked her, and I seen them giving thumbs up, and I heard on the radio that they were good. So I pulled up next to her while she's still in her truck, waiting for a tow truck. I pull up next to her, I look over, and I see her usually happy face in her race truck is streaming tears. And I just looked at her and I said, "Are you good?" And she gave me thumbs up, and I just said, "Okay, stop that crying because you're driving this in the feature."
Yeah.
And right away, bam, that was a big old smile that I wanted to see.
Well, you work so hard to get these things ready. You work so hard to get these things ready, and it's a heck of a lot of fun out there. Until something like that happens, it kind of ruins your day.
Until you tear it up,
Yeah, exactly. So what happened? I mean, what caused you to get down there into that tire?
So I mean, Tommy Grimes got around me, and then him trying to pass me. I guess I don't know what I was thinking, but I guess I was trying to make room on the bottom when there was no room there, and I just ended up hitting the tire. I should have went up, but you
ran out of racetrack, right?
Yeah,
she was having a lot of fun being first or second.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was being passed. Yeah, I can understand the feeling.
Well, this expression I hear from a lot of guys, especially the sprint car guys. If they go high, I go higher. So I guess in this case, if they go low, you go lower. Oh gosh. So when's your next race?
Well, we're gonna run this week in Fireball on Saturday.
Right.
For at I-37 for military appreciation.
Yep.
The 37 guys have been very nice to us and accepting, and have let, for now, it's under trial period, I'm told, for trucks to run in Fireballs, and we get teched as a truck. Truck rules, because there's too many differences between a Fireball car like my Camaro and a truck. So you can't check. If you tech this truck as a Fireball, it's going to miss every mark. But when you compare the lap times and what they're capable of, because the Fireballs have you can put a much higher horsepower motor in a Fireball car, probably up to 100 horsepower more than what you can put in a truck.
Right.
But the truck is going to handle pretty good, and it has down jacks on all four corners. So, you've got, and it got 4-barrel carburetor on it, overswept headers on it, which kind of gives us we're trying to make up, it gets closer to the Fireball power doing that. So we'll see how it goes. I know Mike and Ray don't want to mess up the class, and neither do I, because I love the Fireball class. I've got one. I bought my Camaro because I love the Fireball class. So, but the trucks being allowed to run there is helping her tremendously, because it's close to us.
Yeah.
And seat time, when you're new like us, seat time is everything.
Yeah. No, what the heck?
Better,
I mean, I've got some interest in the 55 car that Riker Hernandez drives. Won't say I'm fully partnered with his dad on that, but I own the motor that's in it, and we're having problems. I don't know what the heck's going on. She just, I think it might be transmission related. It's automatic transmission. I don't know. I think it's probably slipping a little, but and that's a probably not even a factory stock motor that's in it. It's a built motor, but it's nothing fancy. But I think that a track like Cotton Bowl is a lot of it is getting through the corners.
It is.
I think horsepower, it's hard to hook up, for one thing, and if you're going to win your races through the corners, my opinion. So, the handling aspect, I guess where I'm going with this is, I think the handling aspect is very important. Even the more horsepower you're running, the more important the handling becomes. Just my opinion, but so good. So Evahdent, you're in Cibolo. You still going to school, high school?
No, homeschool.
Yeah, she's
been
okay,
good for you.
For the last 5-6 years.
Good for you. I bet you wouldn't know how to work on vehicles if you were going to school instead of homeschool.
Probably not. I wouldn't have enough time to do it if I was going.
It would be a different world if she's going to public school, for sure, because then you have no time. You spend 8 hours at the school, you come home and you got homework. Because we found that with having 5 kids, this was much better. The kids learn more.
Oh yeah.
And in 2 hours, she can get more schooling done in a day than they could ever do at a public school, which leaves her a whole day to do whatever she wants, which is helping me at the shop. Yeah, she's becoming a really good diesel mechanic. She's helping me in the shop. She's doing this last week. She replaced a turbo on what year was that truck?
I don't know.
2014 Dodge 6.7. She did a turbo kit on that, and then she did a head gasket on a 2012 truck that had a bad head gasket, and did that all by herself, except for some help wiggling the head into place so you don't damage the gasket. So yeah, she's been doing this for me for a few years. She really enjoys it.
That is really, really cool. Russ Parker said some good things about you, and gave me a heads up on that. Your ability.
Russ is good. As you can see,
I'm wearing.
He's repping his shirt right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Russ is a good guy. I've known him for a while. He's definitely a good guy. And I believe I got your name from Owen Pittman too. I think he gave me half a dozen drivers that he thought I might want to get on this show and interview. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
I think, yeah, I think it's going okay. I mean, this is only the third show, but I haven't had any problem lining up people to come on, and I really think that it's great exposure for the younger drivers because you're not going to. I mean, the chances are you're not going to get interviewed. You're not going to get your photographs taken. You're not going to be on a podcast show or anywhere else unless you're up at the top, running the upper echelon of this whole deal. And that takes a while to get there. And part of getting there is exposure and getting your name and your reputation out there for people to recognize and pick up on. So that's all I'm trying to do with this is just help y'all.
We really appreciate it.
Y'all out.
I got a little story for you about her first podium finish, which was that race you were showing on the Fireballs. She did finish second.
Right.
Well, we get to the tech pad, and because the week before I had scaled that 45 truck with my fat butt in it, when we put her in it to run Fireball, we forgot to add weight. So she pulled up on the scale and blam, we were immediately DQ'd for 90 pounds because we also had less fuel in it than we should have, which accounted for 30 pounds.
That was my fault. I forgot to put
gas. She forgot to put gas between the heat and the race, and that cost her 30 pounds there, plus the 60 difference, or probably 90 difference between the two of us on weight. And it DQ'd her. So the cool part is I was right behind her in my Fireball for my first podium finish, and I got DQ'd right behind her. They
for
took
what,
the valve cover off. We took the valve cover off of my Fireball car, and I had no idea because I bought the car race ready for Fireball. Had already seen it run in Fireball. Loved the car. My buddy Aaron Letty sold it to me.
Right.
And he didn't know either, so I can't blame him. I just should have looked. Under the valve cover was a pretty pair of
stud girdles.
So, yeah, you can't have stud girdles in Fireball, which is kind of Ray actually didn't believe that. He was like, they can run them. We can run stud girdles in Fireball. And then we said, his tech man said, let's look that up because I don't think so. Sure enough, rules state not allowed. Yeah. So there's some talk about addressing that for next year because honestly, with the amount of money we put in these motors, it's insurance is all it is. Doesn't add one lick of horsepower.
Yeah, I agree.
Stud girls insurance to be able to not blow your motor up.
Yep. And I know that class is evolving, if you will.
Yes, it is. So they might change that if they
probably will. The rules are
money on motors.
Yeah. The rules are pretty gray.
Yeah, but I have no problem with being DQ'd because it was in the rules. I should have known. And it was kind of nice that we both learned a valuable lesson that night. Our first podium finishes in anything, and we both got DQ'd, one right behind the other. So live and learn, and I hopefully we won't make those mistakes again.
Yeah. Well, you will probably. There'll be other mistakes, but that's part of racing, and you live and learn. It's when you win that big one, when you win it.
Yeah.
And they bust you for something stupid, right? Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Well, but that's good. That's good. So you're planning on running the remainder of the truck series schedule? You go into all their shows, everywhere they go? Yeah.
That is the plan.
We haven't missed a race. So
good. That's what they need.
Yeah, we were all ready to go. Just about done with everything. We're taking the 3 trucks that we have that are running to Texana. We were just wrapping it up, and we got the call just like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, that rice field, made the track a non-factor. So
that sucks.
I'm just glad that we do get to run Fireball because otherwise, if you look at the calendar, we raced 2 weeks ago at Cotton Bowl when she did really well, and and she ran in the 45 again in the feature after wrecking her 08, and she did really well in that feature. Now the race was, as you listening to it on Race On, it says my name because we didn't go to the tower and change the transponder number to hers. So they figured it was her driving, me driving, and it was actually her driving the 45 in the feature of the trucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, some calls were made that I don't agree with, but it's all racing. And she got black flagged with 3 laps, I believe, left to go. And she was running 5th place after coming from 10th. She got black flagged, and that last caution that did black flag her for, if you look at the racing and actually the truck series themselves looked at it, the video, and said that should not have been called on her. And they gave her all the points for finishing 5th because that's where she was when she got blacked. But no telling where she would have gone that night because she was running really good.
Well, was that a 2 and out deal? 2 cautions?
Yeah, that's what they have at Cotton Bowl is 2 cautions and you're out.
Right. Well, cool. Those things happen. I was I worked with George Jones, and he and I put this truck series that you guys are running. We were the original founders of the truck series.
Oh, wow. So I didn't know that, Mike. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that.
I'm a good friend.
I'm not bragging, but I do have a vested interest in that series, and I want to see it succeed.
I do now too. Because I think I got 7 trucks.
Yeah, there you go. When George approached me on this, he said, "I want to start a truck series, but I won't do it unless you'll help me." I said, "Okay, let's go." So I went about building a truck, and so did George. And then the race was on. Who's going to have the first truck? Well, I beat him. I put
what
the
year
first
was
truck
that?
out there. Well, what year did we start? 19? Very first
right.
year.
It sounds right, because I know it's about 5 years in the series.
Yeah, we ran our first year race at I-37. I had the truck on display at the last race of the season the year before, down at 37. But
cool.
Yeah, so the trucks mean a lot to me, and
yeah, I mean we're in Texas. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
George had approached me right when y'all started the series, but I was still fully invested in drag racing and had way too much time and money in Farm Girl, Duramax powered. In fact, the engine, you can't see it. The new engine's sitting right over there in a pallet, all $70,000 worth that I'm not doing nothing with. It's actually for sale because, I'm not going to sit on it. We're not going to sell the truck, but the motor for sale.
Right.
Because if we ever race it again, more than likely it won't be a diesel because diesel's gotten so retarded on price of parts.
Oh, I know.
And just being able to get parts.
Yep.
So,
when we put
George
this, when we put this,
George approached me, and we decided we couldn't do it. So I'm glad it happened where we could be part of what y'all started.
Yep. Well, when we put it together, the concept was to not let it become another ordinary class, so that it would be standalone, eventually grow into having its own officials, its own maybe even track announcer, like a touring series is typically run. It's getting there, I think. I'm not sure what their goals and objectives are now, but at least they're still running the darn things.
Yeah.
It's
definitely had some bumps. It's had some bumps, but I want to see it through, and I have no interest in doing anything. I've told them sometimes somebody said, "Well, you got 7 trucks. Why don't you just take over the series?" I said, "I have no interest in doing that. I want to race, and I don't think it's right to have a truck or 2 and even more, and then own the series."
Well,
we want to have fun.
Yeah. Maybe that's I was going to say, maybe that's why George and I had a little bit of a falling out. Nothing significant, nothing major. You just kind of just drift apart, don't always agree on everything. And so Yeah, I took a walk, as they say, but then George ran it, and then Ball and Mike got involved in it, and it's running, and they're doing a good job. You know, if they in my opinion, anytime they show up for a race with more than 10 trucks, they've done a good job.
Yeah, I think there was 16 trucks pre-registered for Texana.
Yep.
And I believe we had almost that many. Yeah, we did. We had 16 at Cotton Bowl 2 weeks ago. So, and there's still a few that are not out yet that are going to be, it might have been 15 at Cotton Bowl, but there's a few that aren't here. I've got the ones that we're still working on that, you know, next year, I'm sure maybe the end of the season, we'll get them ready and be having them out there. And because we're doing it on a shoestring budget, it ain't no big budget.
Mm-hmm.
It's called, you know, work your butt off and get these trucks running. But when they go to the track from our team, they are going to be race ready, safety wise, performance wise. And if you got a good driver in it, you should be able to podium that thing.
I think you do, don't you?
Yep. She's coming along good, and I'm trying to keep up with her.
Yep. I love it. So Evahdent, who do you want to thank or recognize? Or as I have always said to the other two drivers I had on here, who do you want to thank? Who do you want to recognize? And who do you want to blame?
Who do you want to blame?
Blame him for getting me into it, but I like it.
It's a lot better than the options of her, you know, wanting to go do whatever girls do, you know, and kids these days.
Right.
She doesn't play video games. She has no desire to play a video game.
That's amazing.
Whatsoever.
That's
no
amazing.
TV.
Yeah, she don't watch TV. I mean, it's in there. It's in the house. We have TV. We got Netflix and all the garbage that comes on it, you know. And her and I both, I grew up without TV, so I'm just not.
Well, because when I was her age, I didn't play video games either. So.
Yeah, we just much rather.
They didn't have them. Anyway,
no, it's
anything else you'd like to? Go ahead, Scott.
She's a motivator for me because, you know, I'm 56 and some days I don't feel like doing it, you know. But when I see her up early and, Dad, what are we doing? You got those parts that we needed for the race truck?
Yeah.
You know, well, we got some jobs to do first, so we got to do those first. Then we can work on the race truck.
Yeah.
So it helps me get shop work done because as soon as you finish that shop work, you go work on that race truck.
Yep. So how are you doing as far as chassis setup? Are you on top of that? Are you learning that? Or
a lot of help. We have Daniel Goddett helping us a lot with that.
Which is coming also from Heath Stewart. He helps Daniel, which helps us. And then Jamie Fuller, he's been a great help to us. Aaron Letty. Yeah, thankfully I feel like we have some of the best in the dirt track helping us. And, you know, we do have to learn it our own way to some degree. But with the help from those few guys that we just mentioned, I think we're going in the right direction. I feel like we're going in the right direction. We make mistakes, but we're learning from them and, you know, just chalk it up to.
You know, I guess the first step is to really have a decent understanding of what's actually going on with the truck. You know, is it loose on entry? Is it tight in the middle? You know, it's hard sometimes with these younger drivers because they don't have the experience, but they're getting it, and they're learning it, and that's just where they are at. But it is obviously an important aspect. The way these tracks change from not only week to week, but night, you know, during the same night, there'll be substantial changes to these tracks. Dirt track. I'm not into. Go ahead.
I normally do better in the features. Sometimes I do good in the heat, but it's usually wet and I just slide around. Yep.
We had to do last time at Cotton Bowl. We were ready for the feature, and all of a sudden we go, this track just went dry. And oh my goodness, then we're running like mad to change our spacers. And actually we changed rollouts. What we did, we switched the back two tires on all four trucks. Because Daniel was in our group. He was running his truck. And that was a job to do real quick.
Yeah. It is. A lot of guys will just run it the way they.
But that's the best thing I love about her. Is she is not afraid to get down and get dirty, and she's not slow. She is not slow. I hate to give her a fat head over here, but she
deserves it. Come on.
She can wrench with the best of them, and she's proven that even at the dirt tracks when she's helped a few of our friends, gotten in a jam on their car, and all of a sudden she's just like slinging and doing, and all of a sudden it's fixed. They're like looking at me like, "What just happened?" And I say, "Yeah, she's good at that."
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to watch.
Well, I think it's awesome. I think it's great, and I've always tried to kind of close this little show out with an expression that the legendary Ken Squire, one of the great track announcers in the nation, who passed away a couple of years ago, he always used to say during a race, before the night was over, he would say to the fans, "And there, ladies and gentlemen, is a group of ordinary people doing extraordinary things." And that's what I think about you all. I think you're doing just awesome for being out there. It takes, you already know this, it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of time.
Before we sign off, I know she's nervous being her first ever talking to anybody, but I know that she's going to be so thankful that I reminded her she would love to thank her mom. Because her mom's letting her drive. This is mom's truck right behind me.
Okay.
And mom has not driven her truck because she's on the short list for a surgery, a liver transplant. We got the word last week that they told her pack a bag and be ready. So the truck is going to wait, and she said that Evan could drive it because it's probably going to be a year before mom can race. So I'm sure Evan's thankful that she can jump right into another truck right now and finish out the season in a nice truck, not my little 45.
We'll build her one when she's ready, or she'll go in this one.
Yeah, so I'm sure she's, glad for that. And it's just, that's what it's all about. It's family. We're a family that loves doing this. And, that's the way it is. We help each other out.
Yeah. Well, bless y'all. It's awesome.
Thank you, Mike. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Y'all got anything else you want to say? We'll wrap it up.
No, everything's good. To God be the glory.
There you go. And I will see you Saturday at I-37.
And it's happy 4th of July, sir.
That's right. Happy Firecracker Day.
Yeah, we're going to watch them at our local park in Cibolo down the road. It's actually in Shirts, I believe, at the park. They're going to have some fireworks. So.
Right. All right, folks. Thank you very, very much.
Mike.
Do appreciate it.
See you next time.
We'll get this posted soon. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Evahdent.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Fortier, and I'm thrilled to introduce you to this new podcast. With decades immersed in the exhilarating world of racing, I've had the privilege of experiencing everything from the thriving racing scenes in the northeastern United States and Canada to the dynamic tracks of Texas and everything in between. What sets this podcast apart is our commitment to shining a spotlight on the young, up-and-coming stars of tomorrow. All too often, these talented drivers don't get the platform they deserve. That's why we're providing a dedicated space for them to introduce themselves, discuss their racing programs, and gain valuable experience being interviewed, all in a relaxed, no-pressure format. I invite you to join us on this journey as we explore the stories and aspirations of these future champions. If you consider yourself an up-and-coming dirt track star of tomorrow and would like to be featured on this show, give me a shout at mike40or51@gmail.com. It's not just about the racing. It's about the passion, dedication, and dreams that drive these incredible racers. So come on, buckle up, fire them up. Let's go racing.